Hey, what's up, Pop Pack? Nice to finally meet you guys. For those of you who haven't heard my voice, this is how I sound like. So, you probably saw it in the title, but today I will be playing with Betsy, and I've been saving all of my crates up until she came out of early access, because as you can see, I clearly do not have 3,000 gems, unfortunately. So, as the crate went on, just crate opening, which I guess is something that Zuba players like to watch. I was really disappointed because I did not get her out of the crate, so I literally bought her for it was like $10 because of the Christmas offer, which was probably a waste of money, but who cares? It's my money. I get to spend it on what I want, and I was really looking forward to her. So anyways, you can see that I got Betsy right here. I was so excited when I first got here, so I just instantly started leveling her up after I got a few tokens out of some crates. You can see that my gems went all the way down. Yes, that was probably a bad decision, but at this point, there's really nothing I can do about it. So after I finished upgrading her, I went to go try to find out a little item setup. But since it's my first time using her, I have no idea what to use at all. So I kind of just started choosing random items. You can see me just scrolling back and forth because I wasn't exactly sure what to pick at all. Look at me and my indecisive self. So after I was finished setting up my items, it's just vampire teeth and Molotov. I did a quick checkup on everything before I started the next game. Got a little bit of crate helps, went to go check if I needed to collect event rewards, etc. So anyways, without further ado, let's just start the battle. So right now, I'm really just trying to figure out how she works and everything. Don't ask why I put that random barrier there. This is just a newbie thing, I guess. And as you can see, my aim is also a little bit bad. But you know what, that's fine. I get better as time progresses. So after I've collected all my items, I go for this gold bow, which I have no idea why someone just left that there, but you know what, it's okay. And what I was trying to do here, I heard about the little 2-stacking wall, and I was trying to figure out how to do that, but failed horribly, so I just had to eat the rest of the logs. And onwards to our mission. Yes, and I finally figured out how to do it, and I was so excited when I did it. So we got our first unsuspecting target here. It's a Bruce. Poor thing, was a little level 4. And there. I kind of felt bad for terrorizing all the new starters. I didn't want to be that, sort of a trophy driver type of person, which I really wasn't trying to do that. But I just had so many tokens on her, and I just figured I should just upgrade her. So at least this video can be somewhat kind of interesting, I guess. I'm not exactly sure why, but when I was playing her, I just thought it was like the best thing to hit them with the spear, because that spear is so hard to aim. But that's just for me personally. I guess it's because all of her attacks are new. But I mean, you know, as time progresses, you get better. So apparently this is a showdown, and when I saw that come up, I was wondering what was I supposed to do. It was like a huge circle. But luckily, I found them quite easily. They just came right towards me. And yes, I like to watch their little ending animations. I think they're the cutest things ever. My favorite one... That's a good one. I want to say that my favorite one is probably Betsy's. I just like the kind of cartoonish vibe. It kind of reminds me of that old show. What was it called? I believe it was Roadrunner and Coyote or something like that. Not sure why it reminds me of that, but it's just that kind of style for me. So as you can see, I started off in the museum again. Not sure why, but that's probably my biggest thing about Zuba is that sometimes you don't get to pick where you get to go because you like spawn in at the end of the round or something like that. I like to be able to pick where I can go so I can get like certain advantages, especially when I play Donna, which is my favorite character if you didn't know. When I play Donna, I always want to move somewhere like the waterfall in the corner or the cave, just somewhere where I could like get a better hiding spot. As you can see, I check the map frequently, but I don't actually look at it when I'm playing the game. I'm not sure why I do this. I think it's just habitual to do it. I have nothing else better to do when I'm just walking around, so that's kind of what I do. Which is probably a bad thing, because if someone randomly comes up to me, then I have to close the map out and then start attacking instead of just start attacking like a normal Zuba player would. I'm not sure why a majority of new players like to do that. Like, even though they see that the legendary weapon is like under fire or something, they still want to take it. They think it gives them so much of an advantage, which to me it really doesn't. Like, for instance, if you've ever seen me play or like played with me on teams, I usually don't care too much for the legendary weapon. I just think it has no value. But I mean, if you insist, then I guess I'll take it. Just so someone can take it. As long as the enemy team doesn't get it, I'm perfectly fine. So that was the kind of dumb thing for me to do. Not sure why I barricaded myself into these types of things, because that happened a lot. I just haven't caught a majority of footage of it. That's just how it's always been. You might think it's a little bit weird that I'm not collecting the rewards, but I promise you that I will collect them later. I'm not sure if it's in the footage that I got because I didn't record my whole time playing her. But yeah, I did collect them later for those who were just wondering. I'm glad this time I spawned right next to the legendary guard because I wanted to see the effects of the legendary weapon depending on what it was. Like, when you get the legendary shotgun, for example, your range is much bigger and of course you do more damage, but I like to hold out my weapon just to see like how big it is or like where it's gonna go, like the areas of effects. And once I finish picking up the legendary weapon, I just like to see the change in that. This Pepper was trying to steal the bow from me, but it's okay, I got him to get away. Now, it took me a long time to learn that when you stack a wall, then the enemies cannot throw bombs over it, regarding of what their character is. Or, that may not be entirely the truth, but that's just what I've witnessed. But the interesting thing about it is that Betsy's attacks, like her bow and her spear, can go over that wall, just not her bomb. And since Betsy's attacks are like so unique, I think that might give her a bit of an advantage against other characters. I was also a bit concerned when I found out that none of her attacks give her any dodge advantage. Like, she has no way to dodge anything, kind of like Louis in some sort of way. Which, I thought that was like a big disadvantage, my apologies. That she didn't have any dodging techniques at all. So if Jade or any other close range character like Bruce or Buck came up to me, then it's a 100% death, no matter the level. So anyways, as this game finishes up, how Betsy is right now is not how she is in the video. I got her to level 7 at the time I was editing this video. And I feel like it's made much more of a difference than when she was at level 6. I'm not quite sure why, but the 25% difference between those specific levels has made a difference, like drastically. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. So I went back and I was wondering, I wonder how big she would get if I used muscles on her. And I took off vampire teeth because she simply heals from eating the logs that she places down. Which, honestly, I kind of felt like she needs it, but she doesn't at the same time. But a bit on that later. You see that whole map thing that I did? Like, I just kind of spammed it at the end. I'm not sure why I did that. But it happens all the time, and it usually leads to my death in most cases. And also, I put up that flag because a 6 killing a level 1, I didn't feel very good about that. But I only did it for the sake of getting the muscles. And I don't know if you've noticed, but during that fight I had with the legendary guard, he seemed to be shooting through all of my attacks. Or not like my attack specifically, but the barriers is what I was trying to say. Now, I'm not sure if that was intentional or if it was some sort of bug, or maybe it's just I was using the barriers in the wrong way. But I just thought it was weird that he can shoot through even the lowest barriers. Like, they should function as a normal box would. See how I dodged that pepper? That's how I thought it was supposed to be like, but maybe I'm wrong, who knows. The thing I like about Betsy's attacks, her spear and her bow specifically, is that they can go through roofs, through walls, whatsoever. It's like, the bow is kind of like a bomb, but it can just go through walls. Kind of like Steve Howell. Like, he can fly through roofs and stuff no matter what, which makes no logical sense, but I guess in the Zupa world it kind of does. So here I was just setting up barriers so I can have like the perfect advantage of Betsy. But I don't really think they did anything, to be honest. I wasn't even over there at the time. And yes, my battery was at 20%. And yeah, this is the time where I figured out that bombs don't go over the walls, which I'm glad I did at the time, because imagine like being a level 12 and just then figuring it out. I was glad that I got exactly enough kills to fill up my muscles gauge, I guess is what you would call it. And I feel like it really didn't make a difference. Like, it's exciting to see your animals get bigger, but since my muscles are at a level 5, it's not really that impressive. Now, the nitros had me a bit confused on the weapons, because after I equipped them, I assumed that maybe the attacks will go by faster or something like that. But that's not what it was at all. So, basically, when you put on nitro, like on the bow and on the spear, it just makes the range longer. It doesn't make the attacks go faster or anything. Which I thought was a rather interesting mechanic, because it changed the dynamic of what I had in my mind. Like, completely. It took a 180. Now, I'm not sure how that guard was able to, like, clip me through the logs. But like I said, it could be, like, some sort of bug or something. I'm not exactly sure. I felt pretty bad after I took that legendary from the lizard, but it helped me a lot, so I can't really complain. Especially with Nitro Spear, it worked perfectly. Now, I'm not sure where that spear was even going to, but like I said, my aim is kind of bad with the spear. After I saw this ollie, I immediately started putting up blocks because I did not want him to get to me, but that's when the molly returned. And even though the molly was only level 4, I was quite... Did I say kite? Disappointing. I was quite mad that they kind of just showed up out of nowhere like that present did. I don't even know how that present got in there at the time. But now that I'm watching this back, I suppose it makes more sense. Now, I'm sorry if this doesn't seem scripted at all. I know most people will script their lines and stuff like that, but I kind of just wing it, which is a bad thing for me to do. I need to get out the habit of that. So I apologize if there's a lot of ums or something like that. Just a lot of pauses and stuff. What confused me is that this pepper was doing a whole bunch of damage to me, even though they were only at level 4. Now, I don't know if that was bad on my part or if Betsy is just kind of weak by default. Like, there's a whole tier list or something like that is what I heard. And Milo is the highest, and I believe Donna or Louie is probably the lowest. It's based on how good the characters, their abilities are, etc. Now, as I kept playing with Betsy, you know, the matchmaking started to get a little bit, well, not worse, it just started to get a little bit more fair, I guess. But the thing is that I was using Betsy. So what I mean by this is that, let's say a Fuzzy and a Bruce comes by. Now, there's no fire, and Bruce can be a level 16, and the Fuzzy can be probably a level 4. Now, who would win? Depending on the circumstances. Like, if there's any water nearby that could help the Fuzzy, or it could help the Bruce if they have not jungle shoes, what was it? Holy sandals. It can help the Bruce if they have holy sandals, but it can help the Fuzzy to get away better. Now, all Fuzzy has to do is just keep hitting the Bruce repeatedly with many attacks, and eventually the Fuzzy would be able to kill the Bruce. But if they're in, like, the savannah or something and the Bruce has jungle shoes, then that makes a huge turn. But even then, since it's a Fuzzy, which is still able to, like, slow him down or something like that, that would be right. Which is why I think a Fuzzy would win in that situation. It's just because of the Fuzzy's abilities. Now, what I was saying with Betsy is that when I was playing her and the levels started to get more, like, combined, I guess. Like, it was a range of level 4s to level 8s. So, I met up with a few level 6s. Like, I believe this Buck was. I wasn't really paying attention. But after I met up with, like, a few of the 6s, or, like, the 5s or 7s or something like that, I felt like Betsy was unevenly matched just based on the characters I was getting. Since, you know, there's a new stage of the game. And what I mean by that is, like, there's a stage where only new players are at. Like, the players who just got the game or just now playing it. all you can see are like Bucks, Nixes, and Bruces. That's all you can see. And since two of those starting characters are like close range fighters, and Betsy has no dodging attacks, and if any of them ever got close to her, it would be hard to counterattack. Well, I had that issue a lot. And this Molly was very annoying to kill. Now the thing about the barriers is that I didn't like the fact that it took a little bit of a while to eat them, you know, and regain health. Which is why I was debating whether or not I should put on vampire teeth again. When that Molly was attacking me, I felt like, oh, I could just heal with the logs and stuff, but Molly's cooldown on her bomb was much faster than that, so it was kind of hard for me to progress. But I think just because of my level, I was able to kill the Molly. Which is not a very fun thing to say, because I'd much rather use skill to defeat an opponent than just use sheer power and force, if that makes any sense. Does this bug ever happen to you? Like, when you start off, like, in a grassy area, like, you never can see your circle at all. It happens to me all the time. It needs to be fixed. And if you were wondering what I was doing, I was just admiring the animations that the devs put into Betsy. I really like to appreciate all of the animations, so every time when there's a new character, I'm always excited to just see what their any animation is. I apologize if there's a little dip in that, but that's because my phone was at 10% and I don't have my charger with me, so bear with me, please. Now, I was trying to figure out where Betsy is most suited for. Like, for example, Bruce's, Buck's, Jade's, maybe Molly's, not quite sure. They are all good in grassy areas because they're fighters and they have the ability to hide from the next suspecting victim. Now, there's also the rangers like Milo, Shelly. They're not that good in grassy areas, but I mean, the exception is Pepper, since Pepper she has her bushite ability. And yes, I know I said that wrong. But anyways, moving on. I'm not sure how I didn't kill that buck on first succession, but I'm glad that I finally got him. I'm not sure why that Molly was white flagging, but it's probably just because they knew they had the legendary weapon and they wanted it, and then they're gonna kill me afterwards, but I said no to that. They just missed their whole shot completely, but we're not gonna talk about that. No, I'm not sure why I did that. I probably just put myself in more danger than I needed to. I think this was before, I was good at being Betsy, I guess. Because her attacks can go through walls and whatnot. But I was just playing her like she was a regular character. And it's like playing Milo for the first time. A lot of people have told me when they first played Milo, they forgot that they can walk and shoot on water without holy sandals. And funny thing was that never happened to me, but it's happening to me with Betsy right now. So I guess it just varies on different people. Excuse me, I apologize. This is why I really need to script my videos, but you know what, that's okay. And I'm probably going to end my commentary here just because my phone is low and I don't have a charger at the moment and I don't want it to die in the middle of editing. But that's all for this video and I hope you enjoyed it. Of course there's more footage to be watched, but do you really want to watch me being a noob at playing Betsy? Probably not. So, I mean, if you want to, you can, but I'm just going to end my commentary here, put a little music track in or whatever, and hopefully you can enjoy the rest of the video if you really want to watch it. Bye guys. Have a good day, Pup Pack.